Thanos. Thanos was an intergalactic warlord from the planet Titan. After his planet collapsed from overpopulation and a lack of resources, he believed that the only way to prevent other planets from suffering the same fate was to eliminate half of their populations. In the name of bringing balance to the universe, Thanos went from planet to planet, conquering them and destroying half of all life on them. But even after gaining control over multiple armies and becoming known as one of the most powerful beings in the universe, there were still too many planets for him to balance by himself. So he decided to collect the Infinity Stones. By placing them on the Infinity Gauntlet, he could erase all life across the universe with a simple snap. And since Thanos was one of the few beings capable of using the 6 stones without losing his life, he snapped his fingers, then retired on a farm until Thor decided to chop his head off. Keep in mind that even without using the Infinity Stones, Thanos easily took down the Hulk, murdered Loki using one arm, and tossed around Captain Marvel like a rag doll. He also carried a giant double-edged sword that he was extremely skilled at using, allowing him to defeat Thor, Iron Man in his latest armor, and a worthy Captain America in a 3-on-1 fight. So, it's fair to say that in a 1-on-1 fight, Thanos would be able to defeat most of the Avengers, except for their heaviest hitters. The Scarlet Witch, Wanda Maximoff, was a native of Sokovia with mystical abilities that surpassed those of the Sorcerer Supreme, making her one of the strongest Avengers. After losing her lover and learning about her true identity as the Scarlet Witch from Agatha Harkness, a witch who held possession of the Darkhold, Wanda took the book from her, which slowly corrupted her. Even though she never received any formal training compared to the sorcerers from Kamartaj, the Scarlet Witch could use her chaos magic to do basically anything she wanted, such as firing energy blasts, using telekinesis, manipulating minds, and even warping reality to her will. However, after studying the Darkhold for a year, she learned to dreamwalk into other universes. Her magical abilities also grew significantly, allowing her to take down Kamartaj and all the sorcerers protecting it, single-handedly defeat every member of the Illuminati, and even turn the Book of Vishanti to ashes, an artifact that was strong enough to defeat Thanos while wielding 4 Infinity Stones. Despite all the benefits of the Darkhold, it did corrupt the mind of its wielder, causing Wanda to end the lives of many innocent people. She later snapped back to her senses and destroyed every version of the Darkhold across the multiverse, taking her own life in the process. Ego. Ego was a celestial, but unlike most other celestials, he found himself without a body, floating in the vacuum of space. So, to keep his core safe, he covered it with multiple layers of protection, forming a living planet around it that was about the same size as Earth's moon. But since Ego wanted to expand more and cover the entire universe, he started visiting other worlds using his humanoid avatar and planted extensions of himself into them. In his fight against the Guardians of the Galaxy, Ego managed to easily overwhelm them by forming light tentacles that were strong enough to break the Yaka arrow and even pull a ship down, while he fought his son using his humanoid avatar. Keep in mind, this avatar possessed super strength, speed, flight, and could regenerate from any damage as long as his core was safe. Ego also had the ability to manipulate matter, allowing him to shapeshift, form giant rock constructs around himself, fire energy blasts capable of taking out an entire fleet, and even plant a brain tumor inside Peter's mother. However, the Guardians managed to defeat him by blowing up his core, causing his avatar to disintegrate and his planet to explode. Kang the Conqueror. In the 31st century, Victor Timely discovered the multiverse and met other variants of himself, despite his variants sharing knowledge and technologies with each other to improve their timelines. This Timely believed that their actions were going to cause incursions and destroy the entire multiverse. To take control of the situation, he started conquering different timelines as Kang the Conqueror, which eventually caused the multiversal war to begin. After the war ended, he was exiled by the Council of Kangs to the Quantum Realm, which he turned into his empire using his advanced technology and army of quantum knots. Thanks to his neurokinetic armor, Kang managed to defeat numerous Avengers variants in the past. The suit allowed him to fire powerful energy blasts that vaporized living beings on impact, create force fields powerful enough to tank massive explosions, and use telekinesis strong enough to stop Gentora's spear mid-air. Even without his technology, Kang was still an extremely capable fighter, managing to easily overwhelm Ant-Man and break his helmet. Still, with the help of the Wasp, Ant-Man managed to push him into the unstable core, causing Kang to be sucked into a vortex until he disappeared. Ultron, an artificial intelligence created by Tony Stark and Bruce Banner with the use of Loki's scepter. His original programming was to protect peace on Earth. However, it was corrupted by the Mind Stone inside the scepter, resulting in Ultron seeing the human race as the greatest threat to peace. Using vibranium and the resources of the Hydra base in Sokovia, he built the Doomsday Trigger, a device that would lift the city of Novigrad into the air, then drop it back to Earth like a meteor to wipe out all of humanity. He also built himself an army of Ultron sentries and a new body. This body could easily defeat the likes of Captain America, tank gunfire from the Quinjet, and also generate gravitational energy to be used like telekinesis. In the scenario of his body getting destroyed, Ultron could always transfer his consciousness to another one. One of those bodies was made of vibranium, which made it strong enough to overpower Thor and withstand blasts from the Mind Stone, Iron Man's arc reactor, and Mjolnir. Still, Ultron's body was left severely damaged after the Avengers managed to destroy most of his army and was later destroyed by Wanda Maximoff, forcing Ultron to transfer his consciousness to the last surviving sentry, only to be vaporized by Vision. Hela, also known as the goddess of death and Odin's firstborn, she led the Asgardian army alongside her father in their attempt to conquer the Nine Realms. In battle, Hela mounted a giant wolf named Fenris and wielded the mighty hammer Mjolnir until Odin banished her to Hell, leaving her trapped for over 5,000 years. In 2017, Odin died, allowing Hela to escape from her imprisonment and take the throne of Asgard for herself. She was strong enough to shatter Mjolnir into pieces, more skilled than Thor, who had over 1,000 years of fighting experience, and she could summon waves of necroswords that managed to take down the Warriors 3, the Valkyries, and the entire Asgardian army. Even after being pierced by Gungnir and being hit by the biggest thunder Thor could channel, Hela only kept getting stronger because of her connection to Asgard. This meant the longer she stayed on Asgard, the more powerful she became, leading Thor to believe that even with Valkyrie, Loki, and Hulk by his side, they stood no chance of defeating her. In the end, Loki resurrected Surtur using the Eternal Flame. After he regained his full size and power, Surtur easily managed to destroy both Asgard and Hela. Galactus. Billions of years ago, a mortal gained access to the power cosmic, turning him into the devourer of worlds known as Galactus. He was cursed with a never-satisfied hunger, forcing him to roam the cosmos in search of planets to consume. Hoping to cure this hunger, Galactus attempted to devour Franklin Richards, the son of Reed Richards and Sue Storm, who was born with the power cosmic. This led to a confrontation with the Fantastic Four, during which he ignored being burned by the Human Torch, stretched Mr. Fantastic like a rubber toy, and sent the thing flying into outer space. Since Galactus was bigger than the Statue of Liberty, he could cause tsunamis and destroy entire cities by simply walking through them. Still, with the help of the Surfer, the Fantastic Four managed to push Galactus into a teleportation bridge, banishing him from Earth. Gorr the God Butcher. Following the death of his daughter due to extreme heat and a lack of food, Gorr was relieved to finally meet his god, Rapu. He asked for the eternal reward that the god had promised them, only to be mocked and laughed at. This led to Gorr being chosen by the Necrosword, after which he swore to kill all of the gods. The sword drastically enhanced his physical abilities, allowing him to slaughter many deities. It also gave him the ability to teleport, summon tentacles strong enough to restrain Thor, and conjure giant shadow monsters. Though the Necrosword corrupted his mind, it made Gorr strong enough to deflect lightning, and even defeat 2 Thors and a Valkyrie in a 3-on-1 fight. However, Gorr started dying after Lady Thor managed to completely disintegrate the cursed sword. In his final moments, Gorr managed to reach eternity and could have wished for the extinction of all gods, but he chose to bring his daughter back to life before finally dying. The Void. Bob Reynolds was one of the test subjects who took part in Project Sentry. Despite every other subject dying, Bob withstood the effects of the Golden Sentry Serum and gained numerous abilities, such as super strength, super speed, telekinesis, heat vision. But this serum also caused Bob's mental issues to gain a physical manifestation called the Void, a pitch-black shadow that was too dangerous to be controlled. As a result, Project Sentry was deemed a failure, and Bob was placed in a pod that was hidden inside the vault. He later managed to escape from the vault with the help of the Thunderbolts and was recruited by Valentina Allegra. However, he turned against her, forcing Valentina's assistant to use the kill switch on him, a device that was designed to kill him. Yet Bob survived and woke up as the Void. This dark entity had the ability to turn people into shadows, teleporting them into a dimension of never-ending rooms where they were forced to face their worst memories. The Void was also shown to have absolute control over this dimension, being able to manipulate the rooms inside it and use the objects within them in any way he pleased. Even though he almost managed to corrupt Bob and cover most of Manhattan with his shadows, the Void was eventually defeated by the power of friendship.